Hello and welcome to Rotted Reviews, and today I want to talk about a movie that is 30 years in the making and just came out on Shudder yesterday. I'm talking about the movie from writer-director Phil Tippett, Mad God. So this movie is primarily miniature sets with stop-motion animation and some live-action animation thrown in. And like I said, 30 years in the making. He first started this project. Phil Tippett, first of all, is a world-renowned VFX artist that worked on movies like Jurassic Park, 𝗘𝗾𝗂𝗶𝗽𝗺𝗺𝗀, 𝗘𝗾𝗂𝗶, and he actually started this project after working on the VFX shots of 𝗘𝗾𝗂𝗶 2. And it's taken a long time to come to fruition. There's been stops, there's been starts, there's been Kickstarter campaigns to finish it off. A lot of the contributions of this film have been done by VFX and film students from the Academy of Arts University. So this has been kind of a passion project, a project born of love to see it come to ultimate fruition, and it's taken so long to get here, but I'm so happy that it finally has, and then I got a chance to watch it because, wow. Now this is ordinarily where I would kind of describe the plot, except there really isn't much of one to be found here. I can kind of describe how it starts out, but it's, suffice it to say, it's in a post-apocalyptic landscape of fantasy, dark world territory-esque stuff. But more than that, really, it just needs to be experienced. I will oftentimes kind of come up with my own little unwritten rules of filmmaking and visual storytelling. And it's actually kind of refreshing sometimes to find a movie that just completely breaks all of those rules and yet still somehow winds up being extraordinarily captivating. A movie that I can kind of think of that did this along the same lines, although somewhat very different movies, was The Wolf House. So one thing that I've kind of said, especially in terms of the modern resurgence of giallo films, is I don't mind necessarily style over substance, but it should never be style in lieu of substance. There should always be some substance there. That's really just not the case with Mad God. It is 100% complete style in lieu of substance. I guess if you really wanted to dive deeper into it, you can find some subtext of societal, grinding workers down at the, nonstop pace of corporate production, of just a million different things, but this really just kind of flits from one thing to the next very rapidly. The horrors of war, as an example, it kind of touches on in very real ways. But there's just so much to it, and it all gets represented in completely dialogueless visual style. And I really just can't help but think that if you want to find the subtext there, you absolutely can. But it's not blatant, it's not really in your face, and it's certainly not top-level storytelling narrative. It is completely subtextual, and all the things on top are 100% style, but it still works. More than anything else, I think what this really is an art piece that has to be absorbed and experienced. And if that sounds pretentious, then this actually might not be the movie for you, but it is so grotesque, it is so stomach-churning, and yet so beautiful at the same time. I just couldn't help but sit there in wonder at the spectacle that was before my eyes. I legitimately mean it when I say I have never experienced a film like Mad God before in my life. And it was an absolute treat. And it's kind of funny because you can almost see a little bit of the generational gap that was kind of happening as the movie progressed. When you have something that kind of takes place along this long of a timeline of production, you can kind of see some development of the art style and of the miniatures and of the various hands that had their fingers in the pie to create this. And, kind of seeing those different aesthetic styles evolve as the film continues on was rather kind of fascinating. I do have to admit that I do think that the first half of the film is a bit stronger, just in terms of how much it captivated and disgusted me. This is actually going to be a little bit difficult for me to score, considering that one of my 4 categories is plot and subtext. And really kind of what I'm going to have to go on there is considering that the actual narrative of what was flowing through this movie was no plot, was no story, or any kind of linear traditional storytelling, and instead was simply just kind of visual style and cues. I'm going to have to go with that as the litmus test for the plot and subtext category there. Intention is going to be what it is, and then technical will, is going to have to be how well it actually executed those, which, by the way, very well, very impressive, just all the way around. I've never quite seen a movie. I just can't recommend this movie enough. It was just flabbergastingly beautiful, haunting, stomach churning, grotesque, beautiful. Oh, the synonyms elude me. Look, if you're in the mood for a movie that has very straightforward storytelling, a very traditional narrative, something that's tear-jerking, something along those lines, pass by this movie. If you are in the mood for absorbing a piece of art and witnessing some visual spectacle that just kind of it breaks the needle right off the meter, I cannot recommend enough the 2022 movie Mad God. Phil Tippett is a master at what he does, and never before have I seen a master showcase his work through the years as well as this film represents right here. So that should about do it. Anything more would just be rambling from me, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you want to support me, support my channel, and continue getting these videos made, I recommend checking out either a super thanks down below, subscribing, clicking the bell for notifications, or if you really, really want to, you can join my Patreon. Lowest tier starts at $1 a month. We have Discord benefits, watch parties, and a whole lot more. So thank you again. Have a good day, everybody. And remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and